Happy holidays, everyone. Chag Sameach, happy Hanukkah. Yeah, we spell Hanukkah many different ways, but it still stands for the Festival of Lights. 8 crazy nights. Yes, we light with the agent, the shamash. We light the other 7 branches of our holy menorah that we all bring in our homes. We traditionally place them by our windows. Some people actually set them outside of the door, in the front door. You don't supposed to be ashamed of it. You're supposed to be public in your faith. I have a testimony, and I think this will help a lot of people out there. You've heard of the so-called no-hide laws. Ramban, Maimonides, he essentially was the Einstein of his time, lived about 1200, okay, in that time frame. Lived after Rashi, okay. He was considered the Einstein. He was a doctor, expert in many areas of medical science. But anyway, he was known as a rabbi, he was known as a scholar. He wrote many of our Talmudic chapters and books, the Mishnah, Torah, other things like that. He pretty much made our halakha, our constitutional belief system, living among the diaspora. He really codified that. Anyway, where am I going? Okay. Now, I may look Orthodox Jewish today, but I certainly did not look Orthodox Jewish, say, 10 years ago, okay? This has been a journey for me. This has been a journey for me. There's a lot of people out there, okay? I refer to them as no-hides. They're kind of in between the Catholic faith or in between the Protestant faith or non-denominationalism. They're just not satisfied with what they're getting, the fruit or whatever the pastors and priests say to be true, and they can compare it to the Word of God. And then they may have Jewish friends that kind of take them on a different path or whatever. And they see all the corruption in the church, and it's widely in the Roman Catholic Church, you know. Can you say sexual abuse? Yes. But anyway, I don't want to go there too much, okay? I was raised in a Protestant family. I was raised in a traditional Orthodox Southern Baptist home. Believe it or not, I was, okay? There was no Shabbos candles every Friday, okay? Why weren't there Shabbos candles in my home when I claimed to be an ethnic Jew? Because no one in my family knew they came from ethnic ancestry. No one. No one. And that's how a lot of Noahides, that's how a lot of people out there, they had the 10 tribes and some of their chromosome segments. You have 23 chromosomes. You have DNA, you have remnant DNA, Sephardic, Ashkenazi, Jewish ethnicity within your DNA fragments of your chromosomes. I don't want to get into genetics, okay? But I'm saying these are signposts, folks. The Valley of Dry Bones in Ezekiel is one of my favorite passages. I think it's all about DNA. I think it's all about rebirth, regeneration, bringing back the 10 tribes from the world. How do you do that? Well, DNA tests are becoming more popular every day. It helped me with a sanity check. I grew up in a Protestant home again, but I trended toward the Christian Old Testament, okay? I read the books of the Judges, the Kings. I love the history. I love the history around King David, King Solomon, and the fall of Israel, the northern tribal Israel breaking away from southern Israel. Very tragic, and I read this all the time. I knew what the Holocaust was very early on. It really gravitated me. It really impacted me. I didn't know why. I didn't know why my heroes were from the Old Testament. Okay, like who does it like King Solomon, King David, Samson and Delilah story? All these Bible stories, Daniel in the lion's den, Daniel in the furnace, all the issues, Queen Esther, Joshua making the sun stand still for a day while he defeated the Canaanites. All these stories, even the beginnings of the heaven, the earth, and Bereshit in Genesis, the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai, all these things created lucid memories, and almost like I was there, even though I was a child, and at least I thought I was spiritually connected to that, but I had no one no one in my home or in my community that was offered a support system for me. I knew a couple Jews here and there in where I grew up in north central Louisiana, but not many. Okay, I knew a Jewish lawyer. I actually sold him my telescope. His name is Mr. Fuller, and I sold him my telescope when I went active duty in Japan. But anyway, long story short, how did I get from there to where I'm at today? With payot, with beard, with a kippah that I wear religiously. I wear it every day at work, and people wish me the best things. Well, no anti-Semitism at my job, okay? But anyway, how did I get from that path? I am 54 years old. It did not take. It took a long time for me to get where I'm at today. Okay, I had failed Gentile marriages. I did my best to be a moral person. Women were adulterous. All of these things. I was with the wrong people. I was not with my bereshit. I was not with my soulmate. I was fighting against the sanity check of who I am, my identity crisis. Yeah, you've heard of that too. Ethnic diversity, you've heard of that too. But I started out and wanting to be a messianic rabbi. Okay, I I knew some people in that, and I wanted to actually learn Hebrew, so I bought a bunch of Hebrew books. I taught myself in my 20s how to transliterate Hebrew, and lost a marriage over that because I wanted to go to synagogue more than church. But I found out very quickly that Messianic synagogues are just a different type or denominational type of a Christian church. Okay, they had the Gospels on the big screen, and yeah, they had the Psalms. They were singing Psalms, beautiful music, and they had festivals and traditions, just like in Orthodoxy. So I learned a lot about Orthodox traditions and festivals and things like that, like Passover and things of that name, kosher and not kosher food. But anyway, I did not know why I was there in the first place, except felt anchored there. I felt more comfortable. I made more friends around Jews than anyone else. But anyway, long story short, when I gave up on life, I gave up on marriage, I gave up on happiness, I gave up on the church, I gave up on everything. I felt like I was completely isolated on the planet, even though I was doing well in my IT career, I was making good money and everything else as a veteran. I finally found my wife, more than 5 years ago through a Jewish dating service. I didn't plan on getting married again. I just wanted to find Jewish friends. And I thought it'd be nice to have a Jewish female friend in Charleston, South Carolina, so I could meet. Because I was planning on moving there. I had taken an ancestry test, and was beginning to suspect that I had some Jewish DNA within me. I was still confirming in that, and genetic science was still not as mature more than 5 years ago as it is today. Okay, now you can do Y chromosome tests. But anyway, long story short, again, in my Teshuvah, in my conversion process, that started with me buying a Star of David. It started me wearing a kippah. It started me to respect the memorials of the Holocaust, Hamashoah, and other things of that nature. I started observing those things, and then I started feeling good about myself first time in my life. Okay, I started feeling good about myself. But anyway, I met my wife, and within a year we were engaged. We actually I researched how ancient Jews engage one another, and there's a beautiful Tanakh ceremony. I put my wife through that, and the Teshuvah. But before I could even get a rabbi to sanction our marriage, because I wanted her to have a traditional, legitimate Jewish marriage. How does someone who is not born of a Jewish mother give a Jewish born woman a traditional Jewish marriage? You convert. At that time, her synagogue, that her grandfather of blessed memory, who was known as a rabbi in his latter years, he and his wife had attended that synagogue, so she would attend that synagogue just for family tradition. In fact, there's a memorial for her grandparents there. But anyway, part of my conversion process, I started going to synagogue. Many people ask, how do I convert to Judaism? You don't pester rabbis. You just start going to synagogue. Okay, one of the sermons by our blessed Rebbe, uh, uh, Menachem Mendel Lobovitch, and I'm sorry I'm mispronouncing the name. He said this is a signpost and evidence that you have a Jewish spark within your soul. When you aspire to be Jewish, when you start to change your friendships around Jewish people, when you are thirsty for knowledge from the Torah, when you learn Hebrew, you learn how to read and write in Hebrew and speak in Hebrew, you pray in a Jewish way, and then you look for a Jewish wife, and then you want to have a Jewish family. And through IVF, in vitro fertilization, I was able to have my daughter. And when she was still in the womb, we named her Elior, and we wanted to give God the glory for that. So I did go through the conservative Judaism track for Jewish conversion. Okay, don't be confused. Conservative Judaism is not necessarily politically conservative. A lot of liberal political things are there as far as Democrats and things of that nature, so don't be confused by that. However, they are welcoming people as myself to come there and go through conversion. It is not easy. It took me about 6 months. I had to go through boot camp, Jewish boot camp essentially. I had to learn Hebrew. Then I was vetted through a rabbinical board, essentially, to say, why do you want to be Jewish? And I told them why I wanted to be Jewish. I told them I wanted to be Jewish since I was a child. And finally, through DNA analysis, I found evidence. I'm the kind of person, the so-called doubting Thomas, prove it to me first and then I'll believe it. I was always anchored in science and fact-finding and statistical analysis and trying to prove my proposed truth, my theorem or whatever, as a real factual thing of evidence. But anyway, I went through that. It took about 6 months. That conservative shul at the time had a partnership with a local Orthodox synagogue in support of a Brit. I'm a man, you have to prove that you had a circumcision. That's all I'm going to say about that. So also there's a Orthodox mikvah in which you are dunked ceremoniously 3 times completely in the water. And then there are barokas and prayers and blessings after that. That's probably one of my most happiest and joyous times in my life. When I came out of the water the 3rd time, and at least in conservative Judaism, I was 100% Jewish through and through. Okay? So when does a Jew actually become certifiable Jewish? When you buy kosher food, there's an Orthodox symbol of a U there, okay? Or a triangle K, or you see the various symbols there of rabbinical authority. Folks, this is orthodoxy. Rabbinical councils certify these things. They even certify the Torah, the Tanakh, as legitimate and based on real information like manuscripts and things of that nature. They certify everything. So I'm working to get that U on my chest that signifies that I'm truly kosher. The chief rabbi in Israel is dealing with this today with wanting to mandate DNA tests is to prove that people coming in like from Russia as immigrants and other countries, that they're legitimately Jewish and not trying to fool or cheat the system. And that's been, unfortunately, a lot of people have cheated the system just to immigrate to Israel to lie about their Jewish ancestry, okay? It is what it is. They're doing DNA tests to identify Cohen and Levi, from the tribes of Judah and Benjamin. They're doing all of that. These are the days of Mashiach. So where am I going today? Every day is a journey. Every day is an opportunity to elevate myself further in observance, not just growing peyot or a beard, but growing that circumcision in my heart to become that true light of God of the prophets of old. I aspire to be like Joshua. I aspire to be like Mattathias and Judah of Maccabee. I aspire to be those people that are unafraid, Rabbi Kohani and the others of our blessed memory. I aspire to be that, to be more orthodox, and eventually go into yeshiva to become a rabbi one day, hopefully. I am currently in a Jewish studies undergraduate program as I speak. So wish me Baruch Hashem and Mazel Tov for that. expect more videos as I continue my journey toward orthodoxy from conservative Judaism, okay? I want to be an Orthodox Jew because that means something when you want to aliyah to Israel. It also means something for your children's posterity and austerity when they pass on their oral tradition that you taught them as children to their children's children. And it will also help keep them within the tribe, literally, to continue being Jewish, living Jewish, and teaching this thousands of years old of sacred Jewish traditions, both written and oral tradition, to their children and their children's children. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your holidays. I hope you comment on this YouTube video that I'm going to be posting shortly. God bless you. I don't want to keep anything I've learned, the hard lessons of life. I don't want you to have, if you want to convert to Judaism, Baruch Hashem. There's probably a scientific reason why you want to convert to Judaism, or you're just fed up with the church. Okay, I have a lot of reasons why I wanted to convert it. When I found out through scholarly opinion and just historical facts, reading the antiquities of Josephus and everything else, I found out simple things, like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Acts, Hebrews are still to this day, the authors are anonymous. You don't know who wrote them. And they were all written after the disciples died. Okay. John was written nearly 95 CE. Okay. Even the birth of Yeshua or Jesus is in debate too, because King Herod the Great, the first, was talked about in the nativity story in Matthew. Well, he died several years before Jesus was even born. That completely breaks apart the book of Matthew in itself, and Luke too. And as far as Caesar Augustus, the big census and everything else, no historical record to support that. There's only one small paragraph. And the writings or antiquity of Josephus even talks about Jesus as noteworthy little blimp on the total radar screen of world history. Not a lot of information there at all, unless you're in the Roman Catholic Church, and Augustine and Jerome and Origen and the other people who wrote quite a bit about the history, the early history of the Christian church. You can read it yourself. So when you read the New Testament, understand that it's unvetted, okay? It's not peer-reviewed by anyone who is not a Christian or anyone that's affiliated with the Catholic Church. King James Bible, folks, is written in the 1600s. There were no Jews in Egypt about that. This is not germane to this video, but the evidence is out there, okay? Follow your soul, follow what you feel to be true in your heart, and make sure it's vetted in some point of reality and not a cultist a belief system where everything is blind and faith, and it will not hold water if put to the test. Take care. God bless you. Bye.